2007, I had a wonderful voice on radio. It was Mantsha Pheeha introducing a seminar that she was about to host called Daddy's Girls.
When my parents, their businesses were not doing well, my mother would sell acha, would sell biscuits. You know these 10 cents biscuits? People would bring bottles to our house and they would exchange them for acha, they would exchange them for biscuits, etc. And I saw my mother running a family on the basis of selling something as 50 cents acha per spoon. We went to school, we were clothed, we ate. So there is no business that is too small.
This girl right here went and attended, and that's when I met this phenomenal businesswoman who birthed the businesswoman in me. What a pleasure it is today to be interviewing somebody that I see as not only my inspiration but also a mentor. We will be speaking to Mantsha Pheeha today on Basadi Moshomong. And as you know, every time I make a promise about bringing a phenomenal woman, I do keep it. And she is right next to me, and we are going to be having a beautiful, inspirational conversation with her. There's Mantsha! I think it's a bit awkward for us because we know each other off camera, and off camera we don't do such formalities.
Now I'm under pressure.
Now I'm under pressure to actually be like the businesswoman. How are you?
I'm very well, Linda, and thank you so much for inviting me to Basadi Moshomong.
I am excited, and the reason I say that is because, and I think I tell you all the time, and I don't know if you believe me, every time I tell you, I am the businesswoman I am today because of Daddy's Girls. It was at that conference.
In 2007.
Listen here, it was at that conference where you had Basadi Moshomong as a guest speaker. You stood there, you were speaking. I was with my friend Irene, and I kept on saying, and a couple of years later, I looked for you on Facebook. I did a status, wrote a status, and I was like, if anybody knows a lady by the name of Mantsha Pheeha, somebody tagged you, and the rest is all history. I want you to tell us about Mantsha Pheeha.
You know, I always find that question so difficult to answer. Because at heart, really, I'm just a daughter, and I think what changed my life is knowing God, is knowing Christ, and a lot of my purpose is tied to that. So I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor, I'm an author, and just the door into my being an author came from the fact that I'm a Christian, because I used to share a lot of content on pulpits, and people kept asking for more, and that's how I grew into being an author, a coach. I don't know if I'm a very good coach.
You are a very good coach. And I want to give a testimony, so just take it from there.
Yeah, I think I find coaching quite exhausting. It's harder than all the other stuff that I do, than the writing and the speaking. And
why?
I think I invest myself too much when I coach and when I do counseling. And because of that, it's actually quite draining. The funny thing is, I love ministry, but ministry drains me. So I'm one of those people, if you speak to me after preaching, you'll be like, were you running? Are you from gym? And actually, I hardly do altar calls, because by the time I even make an altar call, I'm exhausted.
With that said, let's speak about your books. And particularly maybe this one, Money 101, and I'll give you an example of something that you did that I feel changed my life. We were driving, I don't even remember the letter, but all I know is I then said to you, hey, Sis Mantsha, I need a car. And you said to me, how do you account for every sale that you make? And I said, you scratch your head thinking, I pay rent, I do this, I do that. And you said to me, no, you need to account for every single 150 that comes in, and then you'll be able to buy your car. And from that day onwards, I started to account for every cent and I bought a car.
Wow.
And I want you to afford someone an opportunity to say, to share whatever wisdom that you have around money and what is it that they can do. And of course, tell us how or where are you publishing these books from. And I want you to speak about maybe Talent Unleashed and then take it down for us.
Yes, you know when the interviewer knows too much.
My bad.
When the interviewer knows everything, it's like you tell them since you know. So I think, I like, I'm actually honored that you say something like that because it's really something that I believe in.
Yeah.
So when I started being serious about my book business, it was because I wasn't working anymore.
Okay.
So I moved from a place where I used to work, and because my salary was enough to take care of everything,
Yeah.
it was paying my bills, it was publishing the books. It didn't matter where the money for the books was going. So I honestly, I didn't mind whether people paid me or they didn't pay me. It didn't matter, But then in 2016, now I'm at a point where I don't have a job anymore, and my primary income comes from the books. So remember, I come from a place where I was selling an hour, maybe as an example, it's 2,500 Rand an hour. Now I moved from selling 1 hour at 2,500 to selling one book at 150 Rand.
Yeah.
And that 150 is revenue, is not even profit. So let's say I'm selling one book at 100 Rand. So I actually approached the books very discouraged. Because I was thinking, when am I going to make 1 million? When am I going to make 100,000? For me to pay rent, how many books do I have to sell?
Yeah.
So, but then, what actually had happened to me prior to me losing my job is that in 2015, all my money for books, I had put it in this house. I had put it in the house. Then I went back to look at how much additional money I had in the house. And it was actually quite substantial. And right there and there, I learned something. I realized that sometimes when money comes in drops, you don't take it seriously. And when you don't take it seriously, you will never account for it. So from that day onward, I then decided I'm going to treat myself like a business. So, we take care. It's unfortunate that now it's during lockdown, but during normal working time, we take care of a school in the Val called the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. And I mean, this is young kids from the age of 12 to about 18, 19, because the high school, boarding school. And every time when I'm standing in front of those kids, I say to them, you need to take yourself seriously. Don't wait for the world to take you seriously. Don't wait for yourself to reach a certain age before you take yourself seriously. Take yourself seriously. So now, when it comes to my book, my books are a business. I take my books seriously. Another person can look at me and say, how you take something seriously when you are selling a book 100 at a time? It's because I've been to functions where I needed money to go register. Maybe I needed 6,000 to go and register. And in one day, because of how we set up the table, because if you come and we say you don't have cash, we take out a card machine. We say, actually, you can pay. Or we say, you do geo payment, do whatever. So even another person who did not take you seriously starts to feel like, okay, this is an enterprise. They may have taken the books out of the boot, but this is an enterprise. The way we carry ourselves, the way we engage with people who are asking about the books. So I know I went a bit far with it, but basically it's just to say whatever it is that you are doing, it doesn't have to be books. You could be selling something, it could be network marketing. I grew up in a family, Lee, you would not believe it. When my parents, their businesses were not doing well, my mother would sell acha, would sell biscuits. These 10 cents biscuits? People would bring bottles to our house and they would exchange them for acha, they would exchange them for biscuits, etc. And I saw my mother running a family on the basis of selling something as 50 cents acha per school. We went to school, we were clothed, we ate. So there is no business that is too small.
You've just released a new book called Level Up. I think for me, funny enough, it's actually one of my favorite books that you have published. And the reason is because I worked on it. And the stories that I read, they made me realize that I am nowhere near being where I want to get to. And I think that could have been the main purpose why you wrote that book, to get people to unleash the talent outside of them, from inside out. So I want you to just give us a short synopsis of what Level Up is about and why you wrote that book.
So for me, Level Up is not my favorite book. It's my best book. I think you know the type of work that went into the book.
Hey.
I think if Pumzile was here, she
Hey,
would
she
testify
would
about how we did not sleep. I actually remember one day when I was just about to get into bed, I received a text from her. I just sent you an email, Ceci, look at your email. I put on my clothes and went back downstairs to work for the whole night. You know, so just in short, Level Up is a compilation of stories from 8 people that are speaking to us about how they made it.
Yes.
And I wanted, so the reason why I wrote Level Up is because I wanted discussions that happen in a boardroom where the average person does not have access to be heard by a person who needs them but would never have access. So I mean, the people that are in the book, to be honest, I was honored that they agreed to do the book because one, they are very busy, but they're also quite high profile. But they did not just agree to share their stories, but they went on to edit, they went on to give me additional information, they went on to sign off on the stories. So in a nutshell, I was trying to look at people that came, not necessarily from different backgrounds, but people that climbed the business or the corporate ladder in different ways. The first title of this book was Success Has Many Colors, because I wanted to show you that there's not one way to be successful. There are many ways to be successful because our education system sometimes says to us, if you cannot be successful academically, then it means you cannot be successful. But actually the book demonstrates that there are different ways to climb the corporate ladder. There are different ways to climb the business ladder. So that's what I wanted the book to do. And I wanted it to be done in a conversational, easy to read way. I also wanted it to be read in such a way that if you were interested in story number 5, you didn't have to read story 1 to 4 to get to story number 5. You can actually open the book at story number 5, read story number 5 only, close the book, and you get from the book what you wanted to get from the book. So I think so far the book has done that. I have big dreams for Level Up, which obviously I have not yet realized, and I'm hoping that in 2021 I'll be able to realize some of those dreams, you know, about where the book can go.
Okay, and I'm just going to stop myself. Whatever the dreams are, put me somewhere in those dreams. There's something. I had an interview with you when we were publishing our business magazine called Sibit. There's something profound that you said there. Listen here, I said to you, I'm trying to remember the question, but I was trying to ask you, you know, where do you see Talent Unleashed going? And you said there's a difference between being self-employed and being you're going to phrase it again for me, but I want to ask you that question now, but I want you to pick it up from what you said, Kosebeti, because I just found it so deeply profound. Now going forward, what are the plans that you are seeing for Talent Unleashed?
So currently, to be honest with you, Lee, I'm self-employed.
Yes.
In as much as I want to say I run a business, it's not true. Because when I'm not in the business stops. So my vision when it comes to business is the toll gate.
Break it down. So now we are on the pulpit. Break it down, preacher.
So whether you are sleeping, you are traveling, you are there or not, the toll gate will operate. The person, no matter how low level they are, the cashier there knows how much each car costs. They know what it means. If a person does not have the money, they know what to do. So when you've built an institution is able to function whether you are there or not. If they can't get hold of you on the phone, the business will still run. They may have to report to you some of the things later. So for me, when I think about Talent Unleashed, that's what I want to build. And I want the type of business. So I think it was, what year was it? I don't remember, maybe in the 90s or maybe early 2000s. I was driving on the M1 and God says to me, Mantsha, I've called you to raise people who are greater than you. You can imagine, I'm young, I think I'm in my 20s. It's a so professor also, I'm going to be small. So that everybody that I raise is going to be bigger than me. But you know what? The older I become, I realize that, oh my God, that was so profound, because every time when I do something and I think whatever it is that I'm doing is big, and I'm dealing with people, whether I'm mentoring, and when I speak about Talent Unleashed, whether those people are my employees, I will never be threatened by the fact that Linda is going to come work with me and then be bigger than me. I don't do the type of stuff that you do. I don't even have dreams of doing the type of stuff that you do. But if I wanted to do something TV related, I know that I'll come to you. I'm not asking you to teach me how to do it. I'm happy with you doing it on my behalf. So one of the things that I'm also quite passionate about is contracting for skills that I don't have. I really believe very much in that. Whether that contracting will look like employment or it will be subcontracting. The fact that I don't have to know how everything works. If I'm called to do, I think we tried to bid for this thing, whether you wanted marketing. I just put you and your skills. I don't have to demonstrate that, no, Lynn Namara, I understand marketing. I'm clear that when it comes to marketing, Lee will come and she will do the PR and marketing portion of this business. So when it comes to Talent Unleashed, I also see us going out of the country. So I had an opportunity to go to both Uganda and Rwanda. Rwanda, I didn't really do a lot of work, but when I was in Uganda, I did a lot of training and leadership work. And as I was there, I was just overcome by the amount of work that is required in Africa. I know that a lot of people are, America is the ultimate dream. We all want to be on the stage of the American church. But for me, to be honest with you, Lee, my desire and my dream from way back in 1996 is this continent. You just reminded me that even when we were at your launch, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Mama, who, as he was releasing the book, was actually releasing it to the rest of Africa. So for me, my passion is Africa. And the funniest thing is, for me, when I travel in Africa, I haven't had the privilege of going to the hotels in Africa. I've been to the villages. I know what it's like at the village. I've slept there. I've stayed there. So it's not something where I take a picture. I've lived there, And Africa is full of potential. And when I say Africa, I include South Africa. Is full of potential. The reason why I write as much as, because funny enough, I don't enjoy writing. I don't either. The reason why I write as much as I do, the reason why I'm always asking God, how can we do more, is because I know that we have a lot of work to do in our own continent, in our own backyards, in Muhodi, where we come from, in Hakolopo, where you come from. That's them. So for me, really, I want to see management consulting reaching those places where we are sitting and we are discussing strategy in the village. We don't have to dumb it down for them. We teach it the same way we teach it to a JSE listed company. Yes, so that's my desire. So when I sit and I coach a woman who is selling muffins, I consult at the level where I would be consulting at a big telecoms company. I may not be using the same words, but the frameworks are the same. I don't give you less because you don't speak English. We could be going through the framework in Sepedi, in Zulu, in my broken Zulu, but it's the same framework.
I feel I literally almost had an emotional moment. And I think it's because that my heart is in Africa as well. I just want to reach the rest of it. And one of the things that I said to you one time, I said, if I can just find myself featuring that girl and that woman and that guy in Africa somewhere, Arukadieta on Civiti magazine, I'll be the happiest girl, because indeed we do have talent here and we just need to unleash it further. I'm gonna steal your
it's yours.
Your company. Yeah, I can unleash it. And as we wrap up, I just want you to speak very briefly about speak to someone, of course speaking to me, but speaking to someone, how to overcome challenges in business. Because I get around to somebody's going to be listening thinking, I know this journey is easy, and they jump into it. But the reality of it is what we see on social media and what happens in the background are two different things. So I just want you to have a conversation with someone just to say, these are the challenges and this is how you actually can or I have overcome them.
So I mean, I'm still overcoming. I wouldn't even really say I've overcome them. So for me, the funniest thing is my biggest challenge with business is defining what I do.
Okay.
That has been my biggest challenge, and I think I spent 2020 actually trying to be clear. What do I do? I mean, as recent as Thursday, I was thinking, what am I? What does my business lead with? Does it lead with speaking? Does it lead with coaching? Does it lead with management consulting? If I were to say, what does Talent Unleashed do?
Core business.
And it's only on Thursday that I decided, actually, I'm going to lead with the books. So what I do is I publish and I sell books, and the other stuff will support the work that I do. And I think that's as much as now I sound confident in saying I'm leading with the books, for me to say I'm not leading with being a speaker was a very difficult thing for me. Because all my life I've seen myself as a speaker. I've not seen, as far as I know, the books are assisting what I do as a speaker.
Yeah.
So if you are in business, be clear about your why.
Yeah.
Because when times are tough, when people are not paying you and they owe you, when you're not getting business, you're marketing like crazy but no one is buying. When that stuff is happening, your why is what will keep you going. When you go bankrupt, because when you go bankrupt, it's easy for you to go and find work. When you go bankrupt, the one thing that will make you stand up, tin-titter yourself, as they say, and go back and start afresh is your why. So the most important thing, be clear about what your vision is, be clear about what your why is, be clear about what your purpose is, so that when business is not doing well, you go back to your why. I think that's the most important thing for me. Then the second thing, selling. Selling is the most important aspect of your business. And funny enough, you can only delegate selling when you are established. When you are not established, you sell for yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, selling was the hard. You know, when you are preaching and they say to you, talk about your books, you feel bad. You're like, but I'm here to preach. Like, how am I gonna put it now? Is the Lord unhappy when I sell the books so passionately? So, but you need to teach yourself to sell. If you're struggling, watch YouTube videos, ask someone for feedback, try and put other things, in place so that they assist you to sell. Because when you're not selling and your business is not making money, your business will close. So whatever, look at the network marketers. You know how they irritate us with their network marketing, but they know something. They know that if I stop selling, the business will die. Then lastly, cash flow. Cash flow, especially as the type of business that you are in, sometimes you're under pressure to look glamorous and you're broke. And people don't think that can happen. So when it comes to managing your cash flow, be very real about the reality versus the perception. Because sometimes if you're not careful, you can live so much in the perception that you are actually, everything is falling apart. So don't be, I haven't changed my car since 2012. 8 years, 9 years. I haven't changed my car in 9 years. And I've stayed here since 2007, So it's because sometimes when I look at myself, I see myself as this glamour woman who's living somewhere very sophisticated, but that's not what my reality says. So as a business person, be very clear about your cash flow. There's a difference between revenue and profit. There's a difference between profit and salary. Some of us, we run businesses where you are chowing all the profits.
Hey.
Give yourself a salary. Live on your salary. Respect the revenue, because next time when you have to publish a book and you've chowed all the revenue,
you do not have the funds.
So I think cash flow for most of us, we were never good in maths. We were never good in accounting. Yes, because if you're not good in maths, you'll never be good with money. So I think for now, if we can just get those three things right, and the why is what will carry you when things are not going well. The why is what will carry you. Some of our family members will ask you, Mantsha, you are an engineer. What are you doing selling books? Why don't you take yourself seriously? Your why. And at that time it hurts. When they say, look at that one, she doesn't even have half of the qualifications that you have. Look at her car. Look at what she stays. Look at her children. But quickly, you remember your why.
Your main mandate, the main assignment, why you are here. Sis Mantsha, yeah, it's always such a pleasure to speak to you, and I'll tell you why. Because every time I speak to you, whether I'm here on business, whether I'm here for mentorship, whether I'm here for sleepover, whatever, I always walk away a changed woman, because you are such a well of wisdom and a well of information. And one thing that I love you for, information. And I think that's what we need as business women in South Africa in order for us to get to another level of our lives. These are the books that Mantsha Pheeha has written, and this is just the business side of things. She also has the hallelujah side of things, where she writes about, Christian books and Christian content. Please do visit her website, and it is www.mantsha.com, where you will find all her varieties. What an inspirational show that we had. Basadi Moshomong always brings you the best in the business. I mean, after hearing such shows, I'm telling you, you will be inspired to wake up, to kick your blanket, and to not sleep as much as we do, because we are definitely going to be seeing many of these ladies, Basadi Moshomong, and inspiring us to move from one level to the next. Thank you so much for joining us, and I am hoping to see you on the next episode, when we will be talking to yet another inspirational woman, Basadi Moshomong. And for today, I say ciao.